Hey, friend, welcome back to Her Unraveled Life. This is your host, Amy Wadlington. Today, we are talking about the truth about why you keep snapping at your family, even when you don't want to, and what to do about it. Let's dive in. Hey, friend, let me guess. You're exhausted from overthinking, second guessing yourself, and feeling stuck in a cycle of worry and overwhelm. No matter how hard you try, it feels like nothing changes. You wonder if you're the problem, if you'll ever feel peace again. You are not alone, and the good news, you don't have to stay stuck. Welcome to Her Unraveled Life. I'm Amy Wadlington, a Christian life coach, spiritual mentor, and a woman who has walked through fire and come out stronger. I've faced trauma, single parenthood, financial struggles, and chronic illness, but through faith and mindset work, I found peace, and so can you. Here's how I can help. We'll uncover what's really keeping you stuck so you can finally quiet your mind, take control of your thoughts, and break free from overwhelm. You'll reconnect with God, gain clarity in your calling, and step forward with confidence. If you're ready to stop just surviving and start living with peace, clarity, and purpose, you're in the right place. And if you want to go deeper, I offer one-on-one coaching for real, lasting change. So grab a pen, some paper, and that cup of coffee you've reheated 3 times because it's time to unravel the chaos and step into the life God has for you. Let's get started. I know you love your family. You want to be calm, kind, and spirit-led when you're around them and at all times. So why do you keep snapping at the people closest to you and then drowning in guilt 5 minutes later? You know the moment. You're standing in the kitchen, someone you love, maybe your teenager, your husband, maybe even your mom, asks you a simple question like, "Hey, what's for dinner?" And you snap. You roll your eyes, or you give a sharp response, or you slam a cabinet just a little bit too hard. You didn't mean to. You didn't want to. But your nervous system is lit up like a Christmas tree, and your patience completely gone. And the worst part, 10 minutes later, you feel like trash, guilty, ashamed, wondering why you can't just hold it together. The truth? You're not mean. You're not broken. You're just dysregulated. Most Christian women that I know were never taught how to recognize the warning signs of emotional overload, let alone how to regulate it. We were taught to suppress it, smile through it, and pray it away. But when your brain and your body are in fight or flight, your capacity to respond with grace and patience drops to zero. You're not lacking self-control. You're not a bad mom or a bad wife. You're just missing the margin, the peace, and the emotional safety your body needs to respond in love instead of survival mode. When you're living in constant overwhelm, snapping at people becomes a survival response, not a personality flaw. So let's talk about what's really happening behind the scenes. Number one is you're mentally overloaded and you're nearing burnout. You're carrying 42 invisible tasks in your head at any given time. No one sees it, but your brain is on 24/7. No wonder you lose it when one more request comes your way. Number two, unprocessed emotions. You've been swallowing your feelings for years, telling yourself, I shouldn't feel this way. I should be grateful. I should be thankful. I should be happy. And now those emotions, they're leaking out sideways. And then number three is unhealed wounds. You think you're just overreacting, but what's really happening is that an old wound just got bumped. Maybe it's about not being heard or feeling disrespected, or maybe you feel powerless. And when that pain resurfaces, you don't just react to this moment, you react to every moment like it that came before. You want to respond in love, but instead you spiral. What is wrong with me? Am I even a good Christian, mom, wife, friend? Let's get something straight. God is not surprised by your snapping. He's not condemning you. He is inviting you to heal. A few years ago, I was navigating the fun teenage years with my youngest daughter. She is an amazing kid, kind, loving, and full of compassion. but she's also fiercely independent, straight shooting, determined, and relentless in going after what she wants. These are all really incredible traits for a future CEO. But when you're her mom and she's arguing about every boundary that you set, let's just say not so fun. There was a stretch of time when anytime I told her no, it triggered a full on debate. And no matter how calmly I responded, I'd end up crying in the bathroom, wondering where I went wrong, feeling like a horrible mom, and spiraling into fears about her future. One night, in total frustration, I just gave it to God and I asked, why am I acting like this? Am I overreacting, or is there something really wrong here? What am I doing wrong? And he gently brought me back to a memory that I hadn't thought about in years. It was a season in my life when I really felt like I didn't have a voice, when no didn't mean no, when boundaries didn't exist and my opinions didn't matter. Suddenly, it all made sense. My daughter wasn't the issue. I was being triggered by an unhealed wound. So I asked God to help me heal, and I started noticing my reactions instead of trying to shove them down. When I felt that familiar tension in my chest and the tightness in my stomach, I'd pause. I would just take a couple of really deep breaths and I'd invite God into those spaces, into my mind, my body, and into my history. I named the feelings instead of judging them. I felt hopeless. I felt helpless and I felt overwhelmed. And then I let myself feel them very uncomfortably for 90 seconds because that's all it takes for a feeling to pass if we don't resist it and stuff it down. Then I would ask, what is the truth here? The truth is, I do have a voice. I am loved. I am called by God. I do belong, and my voice does matter. I also took full responsibility for how my triggers were showing up in our relationship. I told my daughter that moving forward, no really did mean no. But I also promised to slow down before reacting and before giving her my final answer. I committed to asking more questions about why she wanted something, who would be there, what she would be doing, what she hoped would happen. It changed everything. The dynamic between us, it built trust between us, and it strengthened our relationship. I even apologized to her for letting my unhealed trigger spill into her world. Because here's the thing, it wasn't her fault. It wasn't her personality. It wasn't her pushing my buttons. She was not responsible for my reaction. That was my healing work to do. And maybe that's where you are right now, too. You think you're just too emotional or have a short fuse, but really, you have unhealed wounds that keep getting poked. It's more common than you think. If you grew up with a parent who got angry when you brought home bad grades and now your teenager shows up with a D minus on a test, you might blow up instead of calmly asking what happened. Or maybe your parents fought all the time and you vowed never to argue in front of your kids. So when your husband tries to talk you about something minor and the kids are around, you shut him down hard or snap and accuse him of stirring the pot. The more unhealed wounds we carry and the more vows and inner agreements we've made, the more tangled and emotionally loaded our everyday reactions become. And suddenly it feels like everyone else around us is the problem. But what's really going on? You've got unhealed parts of your story crying out for attention. I often say raising kids will expose your most unhealed wounds faster than anything else. So, what can we do to stop the cycle? Let's get back to the three practical tips I mentioned earlier to help you stop snapping at your loved ones and spiraling with guilt. Number one is pause before you react. Literally, just take a deep breath. This isn't fluff, it's science and scripture. God created your breath as a reset button. When you feel the irritation rising, literally stop and take a few deep inhales through your nose and a few slow exhales through your mouth. It interrupts the fight or flight spiral and gives you 2 seconds of power back. James 1:19 says, "Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." It turns out James was onto something. Number 2 is journal the actual trigger. The trigger is not the question about dinner. Just remember that. Grab a notebook and ask yourself, what really set me off in that moment? You can write it out as a prayer. Most of my journaling entries are prayers. God, what set me off in that moment? It probably wasn't the question. It might have been the years of feeling unheard or the weight of constantly being needed. Naming the real trigger, not just the surface level irritant, gives you so much clarity. And awareness unlocks healing. And then number 3 is heal the wound, not just the symptom. When you start noticing a pattern in your reactions, that's a cue. There's a wound under the surface. Maybe it's tied to your childhood or a past relationship or a moment when you felt powerless, rejected, or unseen. The solution? Don't just try to fix your behavior. Start bringing those wounds to Jesus and ask, where did this start? What lie am I believing here? Were there any vows or agreements that I made? God, what is the truth you want me to receive instead? This is where true transformation happens. You don't just stop snapping, you heal the reason that you snapped in the first place. If you need help knowing where to begin, my 3-day breakthrough journaling guide will walk you through this exact process starting on day 1. Now, the reason that you keep snapping at your family, it's not because you're weak or unspiritual or a bad Christian or a bad mom or a bad wife. It's because you're overloaded, overstimulated, and carrying unhealed wounds that are crying out for attention. That snapping, it's a symptom. The guilt afterward, that's not conviction, it's condemnation, and that's not from God. You can break the cycle. You can heal your triggers. You can respond with grace instead of regret, but it doesn't happen by willpower or by having just enough faith. It happens by letting God meet you in the mess and do what only He can do. So let's stop asking, what's wrong with me, and start asking, what's hurting in me that still needs healing. Now, on the next episode, I am going to talk about how to take this topic one step deeper, so don't miss it. Now, if you want a free resource to help you start this, I mentioned my 3-day breakthrough journaling guide. It's a thought detox model, and it's designed for moments exactly like this. You'll discover the lie you've been believing about yourself and the truth that God wants to replace it with. Day 1 alone has brought women freedom from the lies that they were believing. I'll be sure to put the link in the show notes. The website address is amywadlington.com/thought detox. So let's break the guilt cycle. Let's stop snapping. Let's invite God in the middle of our mess and start healing one deep breath at a time. Until next time. That's it for today, friend. Before you go, if this podcast has blessed you, the best way you can say thank you is to leave a written review on Apple Podcasts or leave a 5-star rating wherever you listen. And don't forget to hit follow so you never miss an episode. The second thing you can do, share it with a friend, because when you do, you're creating a ripple effect, helping more women step into the breakthrough they've been praying for. And last, if there is ever a topic you'd like me to cover, please reach out and let me know. I'm here to help you get the breakthrough that you need. And just in case no one has told you today, look at how far you have come. There hasn't been a single challenge you haven't overcome. You are strong, capable, and gifted, and God has a beautiful purpose and plan for your life. You are the daughter of the one true King, His masterpiece, and your story is a testimony to other women. If you're ready to take this work deeper, I'd love to help you one-on-one. Visit amywadlington.com/coaching to learn more about working together. Keep shining, keep growing, and be so incredibly proud of the woman you are and the woman you are becoming. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.